Hi everyone, I'm Allie Green. I am the owner of Equilibrium Pittsburgh Movement Studio, and I am also the creator and owner of Soma Movement, which is a collection of classes and workshops that are based in somatic inquiry, embodied anatomy, and experiential learning. And today's class will be a bit of that. So I was so excited to be able to give something to Brink, and I thought that the perfect class was, I named it, It's What's Inside That Matters. So I wanted to work with the organs, and I thought that the heart would be a lovely organ to experience. It is a very difficult time right now, and you know, the heart is so beautiful. It is both courageous and vulnerable, and it is one of the first organs that we make as we are building ourselves. And our organs create our inner support, and they are the contents to our wonderful container, and they have both an individual and a collective consciousness. And when we awaken ourselves to more of this internal consciousness, we are building something called interoception, which is literally the ability to feel yourself inside. And interoception is linked to emotion. So our brain processes sensation and then creates it into emotion, and we create words for this. So the less that we sit and feel with ourselves, really the more limited our language is. And the more we can sense all the subtleties in sensation in our bodies, the more sophisticated our emotional language can be, and the more we come into an authentic relationship with ourselves. And for me, that authenticity is growing the ability to respond rather than react, whether it's movement, whether it's a life experience or situation, to be able to pause, really feel. That's going to give us a lot more choice-making skills. And therefore, I believe that this can bring us into a much gentler relationship with ourselves and others. It builds empathy. And you know, we are movers and teachers, and I really do, in my heart, believe we have the ability to help heal the world by helping ourselves, and then by helping others move back into that place of feeling ourselves. And somatic practices are, it's a self-empowering explanation and exploration of who you are. And you are unique. You know, there's never going to be another you. There'll never be another heart like yours, another hand like yours, another breath like yours. So we all have an individual consciousness, and then we all have a collective consciousness. And so when we work with our own individual consciousness, we kind of bloom into the reality that we are all alike. And for me, exploring inside, awakening my wholeness, accepting my entire body story, is a form of political activism. It's full of empowerment, autonomy, and compassion. And I always use somatic practices no matter who I'm working with. So I might throw them into a reformer class, Pilates, you know, or I'm going to be working with someone that has, you know, some serious chronic issues, pain issues, and this process of helping people feel themselves is actually proving to decrease pain levels, because the brain is able to be a little bit more sophisticated about what the sensations are coming out of the body to it. And so I've also seen this work, and even in myself, decrease anxiety, fear, depression. So today we're exploring our hearts, and I just thought it was perfect for Brink, where we are moving through unknown territory right now. We're reinventing ourselves and our businesses. We're trying to get comfortable with a lot of change, which can be really scary. Also, what's interesting is the heart is home to the heart bodies, which are a gland. And these glands and the heart, they support parts of the body. So hand, wrists, heel and arch of the hand, the mid-thoracic vertebrae. So pushing is a wonderful thing to be doing for the heart bodies. And they also connect with our social self identity, interpersonal development, group consciousness, sympathy, empathy, and compassion. So what a beautiful organ we have, yeah? And the way that the heart develops is, it's not like a muscle that's just arrives. There are these little pools of blood, and they're pulsing already, and they come together, and they find each other, and they shift, and they spiral, and they change a little bit, and then they make these tubes, and they wrap around each other and form the heart. And that's a very simplistic explanation. But the blood is actually the pulsing. So I also like to talk about the fact that, our heart really lives throughout our whole body, and it's the center. So we are going to begin just seated, and going to move back a little bit. And we can just place our hands on our heart and just noticing even the response there. Your cells know each other. So, the hand knows the heart knows the hand. The heart is cradled in between the lungs. It suspends. It has a connection to the front and the back of the body, the diaphragm. And it has the ability to move. It has the ability to roll. We can think of it like a little cylindrical ball that can roll. So just exploring that. So we can just let the heart roll under, and the body is going to follow the heart. So the heart is creating this movement. We're moving from our heart. Body doesn't know separation. It knows integration. Heart rolls down and heart rolls up. And our organs have joints, different from our bone joints. There's a lot of slide and glide. Noticing the quality of the movement when you move from the heart. So when we move from our organs, time slows down, we move inwards. Feeling that heart rolling. And it suspends in between the front and the back. So we have our largest blood flow in the back of the heart. So when we move into extension, we want to keep that wide and open. So the heart suspends as we go forward from the spine, and as we move back and suspend from the breastbone. So our heart begins to provide us support as we move forwards and as we move backwards. And then just taking a pause. Our heart can rotate, and our heart to our shoulder, to our arm, to our hand. So heart to hand is a connection. And upwards, and then moving to the other side. That heart is just turning like a little compass, and the arm comes over. Softening through the head, so we begin to really move down into gravity. It's a gravitational pull to the ground. There's also, to keep it simple, we'll call it anti-gravity, coming up from the ground. So the space around you is like an ocean. And just like water rises and can lift, so can space. And you can just simply move into the support. So as our heart is just turning like a little wheel, noticing that the whole body doesn't have the same quality. What is connecting down into the ground feels rooted, feels supportive, but that support is very supple and responsive. And the body that is moving and supported by space is very soft. Returning up, taking a pause. Pauses are wonderful. It's just a little check-in. How do I feel now? Then we begin to rotate. Now the heart and the lungs can just move around each other. It's like little joints sliding. So as we rotate to one side, that lung on that side is going to slide around, just cradling the heart. And to the other side. So one lung cradles to the front, one lung cradles to the back, creating a lot of differentiation. And if we added arms to this, this would create a lot of differentiation through the upper body. Whereas if we just had the heart and lungs move together, and if you want to try this, you'll notice that it feels kind of clunky and that the arms are no longer differentiated. So let's move back into that beautiful gliding, sliding. Joints of the heart and the lungs. Our heart like a compass. Powerful organ, but also very supple. And then just returning, take a little rest. We're going to move into just a little half roll back. So I'm incorporating a little Pilates to this today so we can see how this might flow in and out and be useful. So here we are, and the heart is going to roll. The heart rolls under, and the back is nice and wide. And then rounding forward, moving back into that concept of gravity and space. So we feel the sits bones very much connected to gravity. Whatever's moving down towards the ground, gravity. And what is moving into space is a reach and a pull. That tail is a reach and a pull. Whatever is moving into gravity is a yield and a push. So again, just noticing we can have multiple qualities in our body in one movement. And that heart is just rolling. Now that heart can roll forward, and then the heart rolls up and we open, and keeping that back body open. Could you even lean into the back of the heart and that space behind you? And then return forwards and just let that heart roll. Letting go of muscles. Feeling that juicy fluid-like quality of the organs. And lift. And let's just do one more of these. Just that beautiful rolling of the heart. Feeling that yield and push of the hips and the back. Feeling that there's a reach and a pull from the tail. And then rolling all the way back up. So let's roll all the way down. We're going to take the feet as wide as your mat, and we'll open the arms out to the sides. Very softly, we're just going to start to sway the legs. So we call these windshield wipers. Now the legs are moving, but the body is one beautiful, living connected organism. So as we move our attention up the body, just noticing, what is the upper body doing? What is the heart and the lungs doing? And as we begin to make this movement a little bit bigger, does the heart roll with the legs, or does it roll in opposition? And are the lungs continuing that beautiful glide slide, wrapping around, cradling that heart? Back body is just dropping into the ground, softening. So literally our fluids and our cells are moving down, condensing to provide this beautiful feeling of supple, responsive support. And then that anti-gravity, we're going to call it, moving up through the body. So there's a sense of lift, expansion through the body that's moving away from the ground. And we could just let the legs roll. Let's take them to the left. Slide that right arm up. Now we've got a nice open right side, and feel the breath move through. And back out. And one more. Our external breath marrying with our cellular breath. Slide the arm down, up and over to the other side. Slide the arm up. Beautiful place to pause, to notice if we're holding. When we slow down and we get still with ourselves, we're able to pick up on habitual patterns of tension. And you can just breathe in and let them relax. Let the body move into gravity. This little rightful home, gravity in space. And then just returning back up. Now we can walk the feet in so the heels can line up with the sits bones. And just let the arms come down. And we're just going to do a little push with the feet. So this jiggling, connecting in with the fluids, waves moving through the body. And the heart is responding to this. Organs responding to this. Fluids, cells, riding along these vibrational waves that we're creating. And then we can just slow it down and let it come to stillness. Take a pause to feel yourself. Press the feet into the ground, rolling up into a bridge. And the tail can reach, so there's that push of the feet, reach of the tail. And if we were full of water, the water would slide right onto the shoulders so that there's our support. Our head and our neck are soft and easy. And the heart could buoy up. Heart buoys up, and the heart is creating the bridge. And then that heart's just going to start to roll down, rest against the front of the spine. You follow the back body, slowly coming back into relationship with the ground. And then enjoy that moment where you let everything release, soften, and we call it yield. From your yield, you're able to push through the feet. Feel that condensing up the legs, enabling the tail to reach and the head's reaching, which is why it's nice and easy. Heart lifts, heart buoys up, open. And then just allow that heart, it's going to roll. Just going to roll, and the body follows all the way down. Enjoy that moment of yield. We could bring the legs together. We could cross one leg over. And now the legs are asymmetrical, but our heart is going to create that organization and symmetry. And we're going to press and just roll on up. Heart buoying up. And then what if on the top here we switched, so we felt that push of support and that reach and pull. So in this position, in this shape, in this movement, the body can have multiple qualities. And then we just slowly roll. Uncross the legs and sliding out. Just feel a nice reach through the feet. Call these little tripod feet. Energy out of the bottoms of the feet, but seeing if we can let the front of the ankles soften. And then beginning a little jiggle here with the legs long, releasing. It's like you don't have any bones. Feeling the waves this creates in the body. Creating a lot of vibration. We're waking up the cells. Waking up and opening the pathways to flow. And then just settle to a little stop. And we can roll up. We're going to lift the arms overhead. And the heart can be a little counterbalance. As the arms go up, the heart can just feel like it slides further down. Reach the arms up. Back body is now the push. The back body is going to roll the front body up. It's like you're a big wave and you're coming up and over. And that heart rolls. Heart rolls under. And then rolling back, connecting to that gravitational pull, but you don't go splat because space is around you, holding you, supporting you. Roll down. All the way back. Let's do it again. We bring those arms up, rolling up, that back body widening like a wave, and we roll. And then feel the push of the sits bones. Always just resolves into a reach through the head and pause. Beautiful, you guys. So we're going to keep going. We're going to come onto our hands and knees. So we move farther away from the ground. So hands and legs, beautiful source of support, but it is responsive and supple. And our heart's going to roll. So cat-cow, but it's the heart leading the way. Soft. And the heart rolling upwards. And that heart really enjoys the push of the hands. Hands to heart. Heart to hands. Why don't we do one more? And returning. Now what if we went to the side? So our heart is going to begin to rotate to the right and we can follow. Heart beginning to rotate to the left and the body follows. Upwards and downwards. Beautiful fluid spine. Responsive, supple, supportive arms and legs. Yield and push with the limbs. Reach and pull with the head and the tail. And then just doing a little heart dance. Just explore all the ways your heart can spiral and turn and spin, and how the body can follow it. And the lungs, they glide, slide around that heart, creating a lot of differentiation from one side to the other, which creates a lot of choice and possibility. And then just returning to quadruped. We can slide the right leg out. It's going to reach into space. And could our heart buoy us up? And then reach the hand. So from the heart, it's heart to hand and heart to our foot. And drawing inwards, that heart's going to roll underneath. And heart's going to roll up and everything extends out. There's our circulatory system. Let's do it again. It comes into the heart. And the heart sends it back out and back in. We could try that on the other side. So left leg's gonna reach out. Right arm can reach out. Press through that hand. You push so that heart can hover. And then drawing inwards. And out. In we come, the veins, back into the heart. Back out, our arteries. One more time, drawing inwards and outwards and return. So you're just going to lower down. We can reach the arms forwards. Let your heart rest. Suspended by the back of the front of the spine, resting into the breastbone. Press from your feet, and then that heart is going to roll itself up, and we move into up dog in yoga, but this would be a down stretch position in Pilates. So buoyant heart floating forwards and up, and the heart can lift the head. You could even just do a little jiggle here, supple support, and then just roll that heart underneath, return. And let's go again, press through, that yield and push rolls through the spine, and it ends with this beautiful reach and pull through the head and the tail, and then just push and roll back. Heart rolls, suspending, lifting the head and back. Now we could come up, we could take a foot forward and then lunge and lift the heart. And back down, that heart rolls down. Let's come up to a tall kneel. We can lift the arms, heart to the hands. And back down, reach, left leg comes forwards. Float that heart up. Back of the heart stays open and return. Feel that yield and push of the feet. Now we'll get a little fancier with this. We're gonna come up, and from our lifted position, could we step forward and lift? And stepping back, there's a little balance here. Come down, reach the arms forward, back into our up dog or our down stretch. Roll the heart, soft, supple arms, roll up, bring that left leg, and a little balance and lift. And back, little balance. Come on down, let's press through, roll that heart up, suspending the head. And you could even add a little return back down, like a little push-up, roll up, little suspension. Do whatever you want with your arms now. Just feel like the heart is in the middle, and those arms are like these beautiful wings. Roll through and lift. You could come down, roll, that heart underneath, lift, little balance. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's more about the experience and making a shape. And how about we just roll through one more time? Just a little buoyant, little movement, side to side. And then let's push back. Now we can move from our child's pose into a little up dog, yeah? So, or we already did that. So let's do our prone position. So we're gonna come down on our belly. And in the Pilates world, this could be arms pulling straps, this could be any of the prone work in the mat. So beginning with your legs, let's go parallel, heels in line with sits bones, so they're not completely together. And our hands can come by our chest. Now we want to go down before we go up. So we can root down the pubic bone and the hip bones, and these lower organs can feel like they move down into the ground. So just like our roll up, where it was our back body actually lifting the front, now it's going to be the front body creating the support so that we can move up away. And there goes our wonderful heart rolling. It's open, but it's open in the back as well. And the head's gonna float. And the hands are there to support. And then just flow back down, move back down into gravity. Feel the down, not just through the bones, but the organs can create support. So the front body widens, but so does the back. Little push of the hands if you'd like, and then down. And why don't we try that one more time? So moving downwards, that heart is just gonna float up, lifting the head, lifting the brain. There's a lot of space there and softness. And then we lower. Arms can come long by the sides. Here comes fingers to heart. Move downwards to flow upwards. Feel the space around you. If you wanted, you could float the legs up. Feel the support of the front body and how wide that space is for the back of the heart. And again, we're never rigid. Our support underneath is really supple. And lower. And one more time. Moving down. Feel those organs move down so the front of the body actually spreads and widens. And the legs could float up again if you'd like. They could float out, but now there's easefulness. And again, space, it's like an ocean, so it can support you, just like if you were to float in the water. And then just coming down, and you can just rest into the earth. We're letting everything release, a yield. And then we can take our hands underneath and go ahead and push ourselves up. We're going to move into a little down dog hovering. So for me, this would be like elephant. So we're going to go ahead and we want to just rock forwards and backwards. So we get that connection of hands to the tail. Hands push, tail reaches. And then legs push, head reaches. But then there's that beautiful heart, and it is just suspending. You could have your heart suspend you forwards. And then the next time we push with the hands, that tail's gonna go up, and the heart's gonna suspend in our little downward dog. Let your knees bend in this. Let them be soft. Most important thing is to find our foundational support. So we want to release the joints so that the feet can spread, so the hands can spread, and all the fingers push. Now you can lift the heels up and come forward, and the heart is going to roll you, and then press back, and the heart can just suspend. Heart's going to roll under, the heels lift, and you're shifting your weight over those hands. But again, there's this sense of buoyancy, and then back. Feel the heart suspend as we just lengthen back out. And a little hover and roll. And reach. One more time. Little hover and roll. And reach. We can walk our hands to our feet. So that our hands, every time you push, can you feel that through your heart? Through your heart. Through your heart. Now we're going to roll up, and because this isn't a professional video, I'm going to move, and I'm going to move the camera up because we're going to do a few things standing. So while I do that, I want you to really slowly roll up. Feel that you are in touch with gravity. Well, I'll do this one with you. We all disappear, and then the arms float. The space around you is like water. And the water is rising, and that is what's lifting those arms up. Feel the softness of the heart. And then the arms are going to float down, heart, lungs, into that ocean of space. Now I invite you to roll down one more time. This is when I'm going to change the camera for us. So you're going to roll down one more time and move into gravity. You're going to go slow because space is supporting you. When you arrive at the bottom, make the choice to move more into gravity. Ha, yield. And then it's a choice to push. Feel the condensing in the legs. And as you roll up, there is lightness. The further up we go, all the way up. And let's just try that one more time. Just moving down into gravity. Rolling, and you can go slow. You can move into that gravitational pull because space is supporting you like an ocean around you. And then once again, make that decision to just yield at the bottom, soften, let go. And then a push through those feet. Feel that condensing, that heart's gonna roll up. This time, what if we took our arms and they started to flow up and we did a little bend backwards into space? Not a back bend, but a move back into the supportive space. Feel the suspension of your heart. And then just return back up. So we're coming to standing. I took my mat away, and we're just going to move into a little movement, somatic inquiry of our heart, just standing. So let's first just take a little walk around your space, feeling the feet like a wave, feeling the feet like a wave. Heel through the arch to the toes. And space can come up and lift our foot up. Lift us up. Our heart is the compass. So what if we started to move around the room with our heart? The heart's going to rotate and guide us to move. Maybe it's straight forwards. Maybe there's a little turn. Maybe there's even a lift and you go backwards. So exploring. How can I be guided by my heart? Literally and poetically, esoterically. And then just take a pause somewhere and begin just standing that rotation of the heart turning and the lungs wrapping around and moving that into the arms. Just enjoying this differentiation that we have. It's very quiet. And I invite you to move slow. Slower we go, the more sensation we can pick up. Doesn't mean we always have to move slow. But it's nice to slow down sometimes. Yeah. Now our heart can roll under. Body's gonna follow. And it can roll upwards. Support in space, wide support for that heart behind you. And I invite you to explore this. This would be just somatic inquiry with some embodied anatomy. You know, we're participating because we're doing it, but we're not doing it. Our body is doing it, but our body is ourself. So this becomes this very integrated, embodied practice. It's moving around. And you can choose, do I want this movement to start to move out to my limbs, out to the edges? I mean, your heart could go out so much that you reach and it becomes just the full center, and your heart could even turn and you're balanced on one leg. You could move down into the pull of gravity, but space is supporting you and your heart could take you down. And then a push away from gravity and move into space, and your heart could take you up. So I'm just going to be quiet for the next minute as you experience this. Move inwards and trust yourself. There's no wrong. Your story, your heart. There will never be another heart like yours. And we can say that for every single person alive. If you want to experiment with moving faster, you can. And as we move out into our limbs, we can really start to feel that heart through the whole body, that circulatory system. So our heart moves through our whole body. Pumping that blood that was already pulsing. Bringing all that rich oxygen to all of our cells. And then carrying away all of the waste, all the things we don't want anymore, any of the things we don't need, and out. So our heart is our breath. Inhale, bringing in. Exhale, letting go. And then we can slowly start to just let this settle down. Just bringing our limbs to a quiet place. Finishing wherever you want. You could finish standing, you could finish on the ground. You don't have to look like me. That's the beauty of somatic inquiry. It's your story, your body's story. And the courage to honor it. And that's what we build. We can place our hands on our heart. Tune in to the rhythm. Our heart possesses courage. And courage is not hard. Courage is vulnerability. Courage is the ability to make choices. Courage is the ability to pause. Courage is the ability to hold yourself. Acknowledge your self-worth and have self-compassion. And courage is to take all that you've learned about yourself and give it to the world. And that's a vulnerable courage. And the world needs us. The world needs dreamers. The world needs explorers. The world needs brave, courageous people willing to be vulnerable and to move and live from their hearts. Thank you so much for joining me. It was such a pleasure. I am deeply in love with this work. It inspires me every day of my life, and it's not too dramatic to say that it has changed my life. And so I invite you to practice this. If you'd like more information about what I do, you're so welcome to email me. My email is info@eqpittsburgh.com. And again, my studio is Equilibrium Pittsburgh Movement Studio. And I am in the middle of building a whole new website because realizing through this whole virtual thing that my website needed a little work. So I'm looking forward to that coming out, and that will also have teachable platforms for both my studio, which is a little bit more, we work more like rehab, we're not PTs, and I do a lot of work with people with chronic pain, and we're really about creating customized movement practices and education for people. And then the Soma movement will also have a teachable platform, which will have classes and also workshops. I teach something I created called Embodied Pilates, which incorporates this in reformer classes and mat classes, and it's functional. It's fabulous, and I also have workshops where we might roll around on the floor a lot, but we want to always have that lovely balance. I recently had a client say the most complimentary thing to me, and she called me a holistic strength and conditioning coach. So I kind of like that. And somatics is, we're going to be seeing a lot more of it. It's really starting to come into play with trauma because it's body-based, and it is it's just really amazing work. So I, really strongly recommend, look into it. You can, of course, we have Google, but I would absolutely love to answer any questions or have a conversation with you. So please feel free to reach out to me. And again, it's info@eqpittsburgh.com. I'm Allie Green, and thank you so much for joining me. I wish for you peace and safety and clarity of purpose. And I wish the same for our world. Thanks so much. Bye.